Hey guys, I hope you're doing okay. I do miss seeing your faces a lot, and I like that I got to respond to some of you on Google Classroom. So keep it up and keep in touch because that's how we're going to get through this, okay? The last reading that I'm going to do today for you for this packet is called Was It a Dream by Guy de Maupassant. He's a French writer, and it was published in 1903. So this is a short story. When you look at it in your packet, it's going to look a little long, and I know the print's kind of small, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down past that first section, and we're going to get to how he got to the graveyard. At the end of the cemetery, I suddenly perceived that I was in its oldest part, where those who had been dead a long time are mingling with the soil, where their crosses themselves are decayed, where possibly newcomers will be put tomorrow. It is full of untended roses, a strong and dark cypress trees, a sad and beautiful garden nourished on human flesh. I was alone, perfectly alone. So I crouched in a green tree and hid myself there completely amid the thick and somber branches. I waited, clinging to the stem like a shipwrecked man does to a plank. When it was quite dark, I left my refuge and began to walk softly, slowly, and audibly through that ground full of dead people. I wandered about for a long time, but could not find her tomb again. I went on with extended arms, knocking against the tombs with my hands, my feet, my knees, my chest, even with my head, without being able to find her. I groped about like a blind man finding his way. I felt the stones, the crosses, the iron railings, the metal wreaths, and the wreaths of faded flowers. I read the names with my fingers by passing them over the letters. What a night! What a night! I could not find her again. So remember, he doesn't have any light with him. It's the 1800s, so there's no, cell phone flashlights that he could have or like an actual flashlight that he's walking and roaming around the cemetery. So you just have to imagine that the speaker is literally on his hands and knees, feeling the names on the tombs and running into all these creepy things. So it's really creepy and weird. There was no moon. What a night. I was frightened, horribly frightened in these narrow paths between two rows of graves. Graves. Nothing but graves. On my right, on my left, in front of me, around me, everywhere there were graves. I sat down on one of them, for I could not walk any longer. My knees were so weak. I could hear my heartbeat, and I heard something else as well. What? A confused, nameless voice. Was the noise inside my head in the impenetrable night, or beneath the mysterious earth, the earth sown with human corpses? I looked all around me, but I cannot say how long I remained there. I was paralyzed with terror, cold with fright, ready to shout out, ready to die. Suddenly it seemed to me that the slab of marble in which I was sitting was moving. Certainly it was moving as if it were being raised. With a bound, I sprang onto the neighboring tomb, and I distinctly saw the stone which I had just quitted rise upright. The dead person appeared, a naked skeleton, pushing the stone back with his head bent back. I saw it quite clearly, although the night was so dark. On the cross I could read, "Here lies Jacques Olivant, who died at the age of 51. He loved his family, was kind and honorable, and died in the grace of the Lord." The dead man also read what was inscribed on his tombstone. Then he picked up a stone off the path, a little pointed stone, and began to scrape the letters carefully. He slowly effaced them, and with the hollows of his eyes he looked at the places where they had been engraved. Then with the tip of the bone that had been his forefinger, he wrote in luminous letters like those lines which boys trace on the walls with the tip of a lucifer match. "Here reposes Jacques Olivant, who died at the age of 51. He hastened his father's death by his unkindness as he wished to inherit his fortune. He tortured his wife, tormented his children, deceived his neighbors, robbed everyone he could, and died wretched." When he had finished writing, the dead man stood motionless, looking at his work. On turning round, I saw that all the graves were open, that all of the dead bodies had emerged from them, and that all had effaced the lies inscribed on the gravestones by their relations, substituting the truth instead. And I saw that all had been the tormentors of their neighbors, malicious, dishonest, hypocrites, liars, rogues, calumniators, envious, that they had stolen, deceived, performed every disgraceful, every abominable action. These good fathers, these faithful wives, these devoted sons, these chaste daughters, these honest tradesmen, these men and women who are called irreproachable, they were all writing at the same time on the threshold of their eternal abode the truth, the terrible and the holy truth of which everybody was ignorant, or pretended to be ignorant while they were alive. I thought that she also must have written something on her tombstone. And now, running without any fear among the half-open coffins, among the corpses and skeletons, I went toward her, sure that I should find her immediately. I recognized her at once without seeing her face, which was covered by the winding sheet, and on the marble cross, where shortly before I had read, "She loved, was loved, and died," I now saw. Having gone out in the rain one day in order to deceive her lover, she caught cold and died. It appears that they found me at daybreak, lying on the grave, unconscious. Well, I hope you stuck with me to the end of this video. If you did, respond with a GIF or respond with some emoji. If you didn't, then shame on all of you. Okay, have a good day.